What's going on, guys? I'm SimpleSimon. I'm your comic book noob. Welcome to the NOOB Rebirth. I'm here at Big City Comics with my boy Mark. Say hi, Mark.
G'day, Mark! How you going? That's hi, Mark, in Aussie.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about comic book memories inspired by my buddy the Grey Man, who does a series where he interviews people about their comic book memories. So we're going to take a trip down memory lane, but before we do, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and check out my 600 subscriber giveaway video. I'll have a link to that in the description below. If you haven't entered already, make sure you do check that one out. Say let's do this, Mark.
Let's do this!
Alright, so, Mark, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and have a bit of a chat about, I guess, comic books from back in the day, because even though I am a noob, I did like comics when I was a young teenager. But it's not about me, this is about Mark. I want to know.
Oh, it's about Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit challenging, mate, because I know it's going to be a long time back for you.
Well, he's calling me old again. Far out. I don't know why I put up with this shit,
Never
mate.
said that in my life.
Yeah. Right.
I've never said it out loud anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I've done it many times. Do you remember your first comic book?
Oh, my first comic book. Well, you mean like...
What's your earliest memory of, I guess, comic book?
Well, here in Australia, we used to get these comic books when we were kids, black and white.
That's right, because I remember you telling me this. Was it the Planet Comics one? Or
yeah, Planet Comic, and they were like big, about really thick. And it's like they were printed in Australia, and they were like a big, thick book, and they had all different character stories, like the Flash or Superman and Batman.
They were reprints.
They were 100% reprints. It's like the guy who bought the license off to print them, bought the license with no colour.
So what it was there was Planet Comics, there was also Murray Comics.
Yeah, Planet Comics this was. It was a Planet Comics. You did research, yeah?
No, I have some Planet Comics books.
Yeah, Planet Comics. And so I remember it's like, obviously the black and white ones are cheaper to print. So cheaper for us to buy. And I remember Dad used to buy them all the time, and I used to get them. I've still got them at home. And if I knew we were doing this, I would have probably brought them in. But you know, like usual, he just springs this stuff on me.
So was that your introduction to superheroes?
No.
Or did you watch like superheroes on TV and stuff?
Yeah, watch superheroes on TV. Of course, my introduction to superheroes was Batman and Robin, not '66.
Okay.
So that was my introduction. But you know, like I used to get those comic books and I used to colour them in. I used to colour in the Flash and the Superman and Batman, and you know, like I used to love it. I like my colouring books.
It's so funny, man, because when you look at Golden Age comics, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're always really expensive. But it's not uncommon for them just to have drawing all over it. And it's like, oh, if only you knew, kid. If only you knew.
Only you knew, mate.
When did you, I guess, because obviously, look, and I found that I'm not the only one who says this, but when I read comic books as a kid, I wasn't into comics. I just read comics. You know, I didn't understand DC Universe. I didn't know there was Marvel, DC. You know, a comic book was just a comic book, right?
Yeah, well, that's with all of us. 100%.
Yeah, so when did you start really getting into the hobby? Like really be like, man, I love this stuff.
Well, I've said this before, but it was the seeing an ad. I don't know where I saw the ad. To be honest, I don't know where I saw the ad. But it was the ad for the vote for Jason Todd being killed, live or die. I remember seeing that ad, so it intrigued me because Robin, I loved Robin. Robin was on my and it was memories from the Batman '66.
But did you know that Robin was Jason Todd?
I had no idea.
Right? Because that's really funny, man. Because like obviously you're a lot older than me, and that was one of the earlier books. Like
Robin was always Dick Grayson because of the Batman.
Exactly.
Because of the Batman.
Because
66.
I remember reading a comic back then. It was the Year 3 storyline. That's where Tim Drake gets introduced.
Correct.
And I remember seeing Nightwing in his Nightwing costume, and they referred to him as Dick Grayson. And I was reading this as a kid, like, what? What? I didn't. It just made no sense to me because I was like, isn't Dick Grayson Robin? Who's this Jason Todd douche?
Yeah.
So
I mean. And then I ended up getting the graphic novel, and then bang, and then it just kicked off.
So then, is that when you then really delved into the world of DC?
Oh yeah, like I backtracked a lot. Like I back issued all my Batman titles from year one. So from after Crisis on Infinite Earths, Batman Year One, and because that was their sort of reboot, I suppose, of the DC universe, their first reboot, and then
Where did you used to buy your books? Was it comic shops or newsagents?
comic shop. So I started off at a store doing mail order, a store that shall never be named. Mail order, and it was just through a photocopied version of previews, right? And I would tick my box of what I wanted, and then I would send the money or a check or whatever, and then they would send me the books. And Mum would make me a check, you know, and then the books would come in the mail, and it was great for a while. And then I remember going to a comic book fair, Camberwell Comic and Record Fair. I remember because I was in the music industry back then too. I love my music. So even though I picked up my comic book when I was 14, I didn't start really collecting until I was older, until I had a little bit more money, obviously. I used to get my stuff from Alternate Worlds here and there when I was younger, but then I sort of kind of stopped. And then I went to, and then when I got into more the music industry, as a DJ, and then I used to go to record fairs a lot. And so I went to this comic book and record fair in Camberwell, and I met this guy he had a comic book store named Drew Salzberger, and gave me his business card. He had a comic book shop in Moonee Ponds called Age of Aquarius. A lot of people would know who that is, like that store. And then I became really good friends with him. I'd go to fairs with him as a store holder and I help him out and that. Then he introduced me to Matthew, the guy behind Comics R Us. And me and Matthew became good friends. And then when Drew's
so this is all when you guys all would have been young,
yeah,
in your primes, right?
Yeah.
This is the.
I was probably about 19.
This is Melbourne history in the comic book scene here.
I was probably about 19. Yeah. And then when Drew closed the doors on Age of Aquarius, he put me on to Matthew. Like he said, I just go to Matthew. And then me and Matthew, that's where me and Matthew struck up a friendship, and I've known him for a long time. You know, so that's where pretty much it kicked off from that. You know, I used to get a lot of array of stuff. You know, I used to get whatever I wanted to read. I wasn't more into the key issues. Back then, you know, I wasn't a key issue minded type of guy. I was more about what I wanted to read, about reading. I wasn't about the artist, it was about character. It wasn't about the writer, it was all about the character, what I wanted to read. You know, I got a lot of movie adaptions, you know, like all the movie adaptions I've got a comic box full of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm really into, there's a couple that I really want to get in the movie adaptation.
On my journey as well, I have to mention my best mate, my cousin. He came along the journey, him and his brother. And they were Minotaur customers for years and years, and so we would go to Minotaur for them. And Minotaur has had a couple of stores throughout the years. For me, Minotaur was never about comics. It was more for books, like the novels, the fantasy novels that they had were awesome. This is obviously before Amazon and before
was this
Book Depository and stuff.
Because you would have gone to the Minotaur before Burke Street.
Oh yeah.
My earliest memory was Minotaur on Burke Street, but you would have probably
way before. But to me, it still wasn't about comics because I got my comics from another place.
To me, Minotaur back then, it was about comics because as soon as you walked in, I remember there was comics right there, but it was all about trading cards back then.
Yeah,
trading cards were everything.
Everything, and they're coming back.
They're back.
They're coming back. I used to skip school. We used to skip school to go comic book hunting. Comic book day, have a comic book day. So back then, you know, there was no, we would just forge the signature, mum's, you know, Marcus 6 sort of bullshit. And so we would meet there and we would go comic book hunting. And so first of all, we'd hit the city and we would go to Minotaur, we'd hit all these secondhand bookstores as well, because they were gems for comics and you know, used books and that. All these little alleyway bookstores and stuff. And then we'd hit the train station again and we'd go up to Windsor. Then at Windsor there was Comics R Us and there was right up on the corner, and then we'd go, and then from there we would hit the tram, and then we would go ends into Camberwell as well, and that was our big day. And then we'd make our way back to the city, and we'd go through and then get on the train, we'd go through our hall. It was one of the best things we ever did.
Yeah, I used to wax all the time, catch the train into the city and go watch movies by myself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh man, fond memories of that shit. They used to let you walk in with like, you know, like food and that, and you just eat your burger while you're watching a good.
Yeah, I used to always hide. Like I used to have like a, what do they call it, fanny pack sort of thing. You just put like, one time we loaded it, we all had one. We just had fish and chips and stuff like that in there. You'd like walk into the cinema stinking like fish and chips.
Yeah, did that many times.
The
man.
best. Okay, so to finish up, I want to do what Grey Man does on his comic memory show, where he basically gets guests on and he interviews them, gets them to bring 5 comic books that were meaningful to them in their, I guess, comic book journey. So Mark, and before I actually start, I'm not going to do this, but if you want to see my comic book memories, I'll leave a link to Grey Man's episode where he had me on as a guest and I talked about my 5 comic book memories. But Mark, tell me, 5 comic books that were influential or very meaningful to you in your life. I can name one already, Death in the Family. Boom.
Well, that's not the trade. Yeah, okay. So the trade is definitely one of them. Death in the Family, absolutely, 100%. Love the art. I fell in love with Jim Aparo, which was the artist. I love the Jim Aparo. Absolutely fell in love with that art. And then the second one would have to be, of course, the death of Superman. Absolutely. Just the way the lead up to it, but the actual death of Superman was amazing.
So actually, I actually still remember back then when that happened. It was such a big deal. It was all over the news. There was camera crews and comic shops. There were people buying comics. It was a big deal when the death of Superman happened.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, another comic book memory was getting the first issue of Aliens from Dark Horse, the black and white.
Wait, do you have that?
I have the whole series. Yeah.
Man, I was watching it on eBay. It was the first appearance of aliens in comic books, and it ended up only going for like $120. But I just didn't have the money. So.
Yeah, I have the whole series.
Very nice.
That was a very good. I'm a massive fan of the franchise. Like anyone who knows me would know that it is like my favourite film. And so when I was a kid and I picked it up, it was just. Yeah, so that's a massive memory for me. I got the first series, the black and white series, then I got the colour series.
Was that an ongoing or like a mini-series?
Mini-series.
It wasn't a movie adaptation, it was just...
Correct, so it was after the second film. This is way before the third film ever came out.
That's cool, man.
Way before the third film was ever announced.
Yeah.
For some reason, the names of Hicks and Newt could not be used for licensing reasons, but Ripley could. So what they did, they released a series, and then they had to recall them and then reissue the names that they could use.
Tell me you've got the Hicks version.
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest.
That would have to be worth.
Yeah, correct. A very limited, very small amount.
Hicks was my hero from Aliens.
I can't remember. No way, man. Hudson rocks, man. It's game over, man. It's game over.
He was a dickhead as well, so Hicks was just cool, you know?
Nah, yeah, but Hicks was cool. Yeah, of course, Hicks was cool, but Hudson, man, you can't go past.
Yeah, Hudson's fun. He's a fun character.
He is.
Hicks, as a kid, I didn't want fun. I wanted someone who was super cool, and Hicks was my man.
The Dark Knight Returns, from the Frank Miller. Dark Knight Returns was great. Like.
And was that when you'd already sort of gotten into comics and you were sort of backtracking, or?
Yeah, 100%. I was probably. Yeah. Like I got all the separate issues, which were great, and I loved it, you know, like everyone else. And I got the second one as well, which I loved as well. Not a lot of people liked that one. But another one would be another Frank Miller would be Daredevil, Man Without Fear, the John Romita Jr. drawn one. That introduced me to John Romita Jr. In my opinion, probably his best work as an artist. And the reason why I got it was because of Frank Miller. But it introduced me to Daredevil and who he was and what he was about. So that was another one that probably influenced me more.
Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. That was a fun chat, yeah, Mark?
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
Had to go way back.
Made me want to go and colour my one grey eyebrow that I've got here. I've got one white eyebrow here, right here. I'm going to have to go colour it now because it made me feel old.
Colour it red.
No.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a comment about some of your comic book memories. And again, if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, make sure you let us know in the comments. Check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link to my comic book memories with the Grey Man. I have a link to my 600 subscriber giveaway. And yeah, don't forget to hit your thumbs up on the way out. Say bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
Keep it simple.
Hang on, Aussie, the Australian version. See you later, mates. Yeah, what a piece of shit movie, man. Like, seriously, the lead character in it is just so B-grade. He's not even an actor. He is a stunt guy.
Mark's talking about Mortal Kombat, so if you guys like Mortal Kombat, give Mark a thumbs down in the comments. You fucking beauty.
You fucking beauty, mate.
Alright, mate, why plan?
Why plan? Yeah,
Off the cuff.
plan?
You said to me. You're like off the cuff, that's what people like.
Yeah, but a bit of planning would help.
Get out of here with your planning. What I really want to get in the movie adaptation. Pants just got sticky.
That's just wrong.
So I used to just catch the train back and forth, like, and just listen to my Walkman.
Walkmans, that's another down memory lane. Oh, that's in, we gotta stop now.
Another story.
We gotta stop, that's another, no, we gotta stop now. So, I don't know, that's my two, what's yours? No, your two.
No, I'm not doing them.
Oh, you're not doing them?
No, I've already done the episode with Grey Man.
Oh,
this
shit.
is all about your comic book memories.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Is that the one with the cover with?
Correct, one of them, yeah.
Cool. My recommendation would be Heroes in Crisis.